Hey, brothers and sisters. So there's been a lot of talk about the Ezekiel 38 and 39 battles because the nations mentioned in Scripture regarding those battles are in current events. But is anybody talking about the Psalm 83 war? What are the Psalm 83 nations? A list of 7 nations that will form an alliance against Israel is stated in Psalm 83. Verse 4 says, "Come, they say, let us destroy them as a nation, that the name of Israel may be remembered no more." Verse 5 says, "With one mind they plot together. They form an alliance against you." So here you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, all the different nations that form this alliance. Then you see in the book of Obadiah gives us some more details as to what will happen to these nations. "The day of the Lord is near for all nations. As you have done, it will be to you. Your deeds will return upon your own head. But on Mount Zion will be deliverance. It will be holy, and the house of Jacob will possess its inheritance. The house of Jacob will be a fire, and a house of Joseph a flame. The house of Esau will be a stubble, and they will set on fire and consume it. There will be no survivors from the house of Esau, the Lord has spoken. People from the Negev will occupy the mountains of Esau, and people from the foothills will possess the land of the Philistines. They will occupy the fields of Ephraim and Samaria, and Benjamin will possess Gilead." And here you see a list of the nations below. I believe Scripture tells us that the battles of Psalm 83 nations are fought before the battle of Ezekiel 38. These nations fall and Israel expands. Iran represents the Persian kingdom. Egypt and Saudi Arabia represent the Arab kingdom. And Israel represents the Jewish kingdom. So what happens to Egypt? What happens to Ammon? What happens to Assyria? And you'll see what happens to Iraq. And look at these scriptures accordingly. Here is a map showing current day what is given, the amount of money that Iran is using. Though maybe they are not directly involved in the Psalm 83 war, they are definitely funding the Psalm 83 war. As you can see that they are funding the very nations that are talked about in Psalm 83 that will come against Israel. Here's another map showing the various nations that will be involved. And here you see a list of the differences between the Ezekiel war and the Psalm 83 war regarding the nations. Now, Psalm 83 could happen. We know that Iran is funding these nations, so it's not impossible that this could happen shortly after the rapture. I don't believe that we will see the Psalm 83 war, the Ezekiel war. I think this is what's talked about in Revelation 6 when war breaks out and peace is taken from the earth. But I think one leads to the other because Israel, as a result of Psalm 83, will be given more territory, which will bring out the greediness of the Ezekiel war countries that we see here, and that will progress until the campaign of Armageddon. Remember, Armageddon is not just one battle, but many battles for Israel, and how the Lord is ultimately victorious in the end. So I hope this is a blessing to you. God bless.